Hello and welcome to another modelling video. This is Alan from the Wookieepedia at YouTube with another model video. Building the Revell 152 scale Rebel Alliance T-47 modified airspeeder known as Snowspeeder. Very iconic and famous from the Star Wars film The Empire Strikes Back from the Battle of Hoth. My variant is going to depict from the video game on the Nintendo 64, Shadows of the Empire. A very important nostalgic memory from my childhood. This fantastic kit, which I've encountered last year, comes in a plastic bag and contains 5 unique runners with a clear canopy, a set of very clear, easy to follow instructions, and a sticker sheet which we shall discard. This model can work as a pre-coloured snap kit. The model seems to have a target audience of young kids in a low parts count, very easy to assemble, decent detail, fairly rigid with a lot of playability before breakage. Basic tools are required. It doesn't just come off the runners, and some parts are fairly small. I do see the potential with the great proportions and fine detail, deep ingrained panel lines. This could turn out to be an amazing scale model if slightly modified, painted up, and even better based for a diorama setting, which we completely intend to do so. I am using plastic cement for a permanent fix, but it is not required as the fit is strong enough. I find the cockpit to be slightly strange with the figures laying down, being removed, which I will be modelling. It is not quite right, and we'll be cutting out the bottom and expanding the cockpit for greater detail. Externally at the snap fit parts, there is sink lines that need to be filled with putty through the thin injection moulded walls. Those two major issues aside, this is a fairly fit and decent model. For a snap build cleanup, I would imagine the model would not take any longer than 30 minutes to finish. No other major modelling flaws are accounted for. Injector pins are internal, no major flash marks in the design of the layout. I imagine the fine moulds and Bandai offering after visiting the unboxing and runners would be a superior build, but the price cannot be matched, and this is the variant that I've got my heart set on for a lower poly version from the video game that I envisioned with this project. Sometimes the best kit is not quite the best fit. Rich in raised details, no real tedious jobs like seam lines or cleanup. The build is royally quite a lot of fun, and I got straight into extra work into the cockpit by cutting the holes out, using some aftermarket holes to be a bit of a bucket underneath, and slight amounts of detailing with plastic sheet and cement. Comedically, and even great effort in painting the cockpit in various shades, control panels and seat. None of it will be visible through the clear part as it's mostly very dark. Further upgrades also include drilling out the gun barrels, though there is a bit of a recess for a wash or paint to capture. The clear parts have been very delicately handled with ultra fine nippers and care in trimming and sanding not to fog up the plastic, which snap fits perfectly in place without the aid of glue. Lots of care was also taken in savouring and preparing the subjects in the plan for the finished project. What would have taken a few hours stretched out in over a few months in further documentation, photos and measuring up, not knowing that the finished result will require all the hobby skills I've developed to this point in utilizing the diorama. The instructions have a sticker guide which starts getting a bit complicated and completely ignored. Cutting small squares of masking tape, I've successfully masked off the entire clear pieces. Then moved straight into the painting stage, starting off with priming the entire surface to look for faults and paint adhesion, utilizing automotive grey primer thinmed with super cheap auto premium lacquer thinner. A lot of colours were painfully and carefully selected out to match the scheme, going with the orange effect over 3-tone shade and liquid smoke. Masking tape was cut out and cornered around the edges. A few extra surplus parts were painted in a few shades of black to dark grey. Star Wars is one of those subjects where it's very fun and easy to build, but once you get to the painting stage, it gets tricky to make it look like it's popped out or suitable for the Star Wars movies. A lot of the 3D modelling or the physical models used in the film and production were built by masterful modelers and artists who's done an amazing job with added light and effects to pop and blend it into the films and make it larger and realer than life, confusing and distorting scale. When you look at a photo of a model and you can't tell what scale or size, or the fact that it is a model, it's a sign tale of really well executed model that you're not looking at a toy, but you're looking at a piece that's capturing a space in time, be it fictional or historical, unwitnessed element in history. A lot of Star Wars ships are all different shades of mono grey, white to a dark grey, and choosing the right colour can be tricky. Advice I've seen on forums, online tutorials and other modelers generally reach to the whitest grey that you can get your hands on. Others do shading. I've just enjoyed picking 3 or 4 different grades and shading it to the lightest grey, and then picking out certain points with white, all via an airbrush. With figurative painting and shading on the wet palette effect, you can also get a very similar, almost wargaming-like effect. Next stage is weathering, and Star Wars always has the appearance of well-worn, heavily utilized machines that sometimes even up to hundreds of years old and have a personality of being clunkers and just breaking down in the scene that it appears. Sludge washers, weathering pencils, dry brushing and streaks is a very important part in playing, in giving it the definition, the edging and the look of Star Wars. I do want to do a lot more Star Wars kits, and I'm a big fan of the franchise, but what has stopped me from putting a lot of models out is not doing it justice and the time putting in. I feel with where my painting's at, I'm able to work on a lot more projects now. This is when things truly get chaotic and unnecessarily complex. Looking at these still images from the Nintendo 64 game Shadows of the Empire, everything is overly 64-bit mesh manipulated files with very basic color palette, nothing like the movie. I've had these Star Wars crates I made up many years ago, and a wampa that I scaled down from the Legions game. Using all that reference, I've drafted up a diorama that is off-center and not quite square, just staging up and slightly distorted, and adding in brickwork, pipework, those lines and a door that is iconic to the game. With some traditional sculpting methods of adding air drying clay and PVA glue, I built it up to be more model iconic. Some stalagmites and tights, bit of putty and sanding work, and positioned where I would like the Snowspeeder to be and suspending it with wires. Painting everything up with airbrush and being very playful in shading and colouring in to match the shots from the video game. It all started to come together and blend. This was a very long and time consuming product, utilizing 2 types of 3D printers, the larger diorama with the Ender 5 filament machine, and the rest of the bits and pieces in resin from the Anycubic Mono X, which took a while to get online and fixed. A lot of these things were put off stage by stage and took many months until it started slowly coming together, and an immense amount of painting to match the styling of each model, the scale and all that. I had an issue with the wampa that in the game it's very small and it goes through corridors and fights you as just slightly taller than a human, though the Wookieepedia stated they're up to 3 meters tall. I found a happy mix and added snow flock at the end. The masking, the diorama design, the printing, the scratch building of the cockpit all really hit that creative itch that had in building a little too much out of the box projects, and really went back into the Man in backer form in crazy kit bashes and weird builds. This is definitely far from perfect and very stylized, which confuses a lot of modelers and traditional or modern Star Wars fans don't quite understand. For those in my era knowing what I'm trying to achieve, I cannot be more happy with this project and very pleased. It's probably the best piece that I've put out in 2021 and one of the best pieces I've done to date. Also a favorite diorama of mine. It tells a very loose story. You got an idea that it is either the Marvel Comics version of Echo Base to a video game, and it's definitely colored and feels like Star Wars, or at least traditional Star Wars. This also brought back a lot of fun and love that I definitely have for the hobby and an interest in doing more Star Wars work, but being more creative with 3D printing, and definitely a desire of pushing 3D printing into dioramas and doing a lot more diorama work and design. I hope you guys definitely enjoyed this video. It took a very long time to make and definitely went into editing and video making hell. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, until next time, stay tuned for further content and we'll catch you guys next time. See you later.